Alright, cool. So, I have a question for all of you over here. What did you guys do in the COVID-19 lockdown? Yes, anyone? What did you do? Amazing. So, it was YouTube? Was it PUBG? Netflix? Well, for me, it was. I had wasted a lot of time on this. I know, by the way, before I begin, I should probably introduce myself. So, my name is Vasav Trehan and I've just turned 16. And right now, I am still in school. So, yeah, I'm not some big professor or an industry expert. I am just like you guys, a student still figuring things out. Which is why my story today is not about how I had everything planned out. It is about how I started small, messed around, and slowly created opportunities for myself. Now, let me take you all back to those lockdown days. Within just a few nights, the whole of India had shifted to online education. And to be really honest, nobody knew how to manage it. Apps like Zoom and Teams were new for everyone, and even teachers were struggling. Well, that was the very fact we students took the most advantage of. We would remove the teacher out of the class, and she had to call the school's IT team to get back in. If someone was asking a doubt, we would mute their mic. Once, a kid joined the class wearing his full school uniform at his home online. The teacher was so happy and she praised him so much so we removed him too. Sometimes, in the middle of the lectures, we would just play songs. Basically, it was all fun and we didn't study a bit. And then one day, my parents got me. And they weren't happy. They told me, Vasav, if you know how to do all of this, then why don't you help the teacher instead of troubling her? So, me being the obedient child I am, I connected with the same teacher I used to remove from the meeting and told her, ma'am, if you could just make everyone an attendee, then nobody could mute you or remove you. She was so relieved and happy, she told me, Vasav, why don't you show this to everyone? And that is when it hit me. If even my teachers were struggling so much with basic tech, then imagine how many others across India were too. So I thought, why not start writing about this stuff? And that is what led me to start a small blog called as technify.com. Nothing fancy, just simple tricks and shortcuts that could make life easier for anyone. Honestly, at that time, I didn't think of it as some big project or anything serious for that matter. I just liked the idea that even if one person read it and found it useful, that would be enough. Fast forward to May, it was my summer vacations time. So my mom is from this city in Punjab called as Jalandhar, and every year we used to go there to visit my grandparents. And the best part for me was always the evenings, because that is when all the kids would gather for gully cricket. Now, if you've ever played gully cricket, you know there are always fights. Like, one ball is left in the over, no, three balls are left in the over, and then 10 kids shouting at the exact same time. Their solution was simple to just write the score on paper. But I suggested, why not just use an app from the Play Store? And they looked at me like I was speaking some foreign language. They didn't even know that apps for cricket scoring had existed. And that is when it hit me again. For me, using apps and tech was very normal. But for a lot of my friends out there, it wasn't. They were smart kids, but nobody had told them that these things had even existed. So I thought, now it's time to go beyond just writing blogs and try to reach as many people as possible. Now, I have a question for all of you again. Can you guys please tell me what do you think is the easiest way to reach out to a lot of people at once? Connect to a lot of people at once. Yes, anyone? Absolutely. Everyone is already out there doom scrolling the whole day, so I was like, okay, fine, let me also make an Instagram account and start posting. So yeah, I went ahead and made this Instagram account. And to be honest, I did not know what I was doing. I just thought, okay, fine, I'll post something about tech and maybe people will like it. But yeah, no one cared. I'd sit there refreshing the page and nothing. a handful of views, 1 or 2 likes if I was lucky. It felt like throwing a paper plane in an empty room, just no response at all. Still, I kept at it. Slowly, really slowly, things started to shift. My viewership increased from 27 to 50 to 100 to a few thousand. My followers started going up too, one by one, 10 by 10. And when I hit 1,000, I was over the moon. It felt like a mini achievement unlocked for me. And from then on to 5,000, 10,000, and then over 20,000 followers. And that is when people started noticing. And once my school friends noticed, well, that's when the fun really began. Not for me, for them. Some laughed at me. Some said all his followers are fake. A few even joked his dad mustn't bought them for him. And my comment section, oh man, my comment section was a free comedy show except the only punchline was me. At first, I pretended to laugh along, but honestly, it hurt. And especially because I wasn't just randomly posting anything. Now, I have a question for all of you again. Can you guys please tell me what does it take to make a reel? What do we really need to make a reel online? Yes, anyone? Wow, amazing. Let me complete the answer for you. We need scripting, ideation, editing, recording, hooks, title, light work for videos. Trust me, it takes a lot of effort. Just have a look at this video. I had to record this video so many times before it is even okay to post.
Guys, मैं वसव टेक्निफाइड ऑफिशियल से नहीं. Guys, I am Vasav from टेक्निफाइड ऑफिशियल नहीं.
And after all that effort, all I'd see was negativity and sarcasm. But okay, I thought, at least my account is growing. And then came the worst part of all. My followers just froze, stuck at 20.7k. Not for a week or two, but for 6-7 gruesome months. I would sit there refreshing the page, hoping to see that number go up, but it just wouldn't. I tried everything. I watched YouTube tutorials, how to beat Instagram, 5 algorithm tips, trending songs, hashtags, captions, and nothing worked. Meanwhile, at school, the jokes kept coming. Even a teacher of mine once teased, "Arey influencer saab, how many likes did you get yesterday?" And in my mind, I was like, yeah, just 2. And that is when the doubts in my own head started getting louder. Maybe they're right. Maybe this isn't gonna go anywhere. Maybe I should just stop before I make an even bigger fool of myself. But even with all that, I didn't quit. And honestly, even I don't know why. Maybe because I had already put in so much effort. Maybe because I did not want the trolls to win. Or maybe because some part of me still believed that things could change. What I do know is, I was determined. Okay, fine. Maybe I won't get 10,000 likes overnight. Maybe no one is clapping for me right now. But that doesn't mean I'll just sit and wait. Because waiting doesn't help. Opportunities don't knock on your door like a Zomato delivery. We have to create them ourselves. So I kept posting. Even when that number was frozen at 20.7k, even when it didn't matter, I still showed up. And that consistency, that boring everyday grind is what eventually pushed me forward. Slowly, things started to shift. My viewership increased, more people started noticing, and opportunities began to come my way, the kind I could never imagine. And you know, after about a year of showing up every single day, I had realized I wasn't just posting anymore. I had actually built a community of real people who were waiting for my next post and who were learning something from me. And what do I actually post about? It's not just random tech tips or motivational quotes. I provide real and valuable opportunities like internships, scholarships, free courses, and certifications. Everything that students like me need to level up their skills without spending a single rupee. My aim has always been simple. My aim has always been simple to make learning and opportunities accessible for anyone, anywhere. But looking back at that whole struggle phase, I have realized a few things. First, Whenever you start something new, do not expect instant results. At first, it always feels like nobody cares because trust me, nobody actually does. Second, the moment you grow a little, criticism will follow. People will always have something to say, and if you stop because of that, then you're never going to move forward. Third, there's always going to be a plateau, a stage where nothing moves. And if you go through that, then you're bound to succeed. And fourth is the most important one. Consistency beats every single hack. Hashtags, trending songs, captions, best timings, all that changes. But if we decide to show up every single day, that is what really matters. And now comes the crazy part, the opportunities. In September of 2022, I was checking my mailbox and I could not believe my eyes. The institute lakhs of students dreamed to go every single year had emailed me. I had been invited to become the social media partner for IIT Bombay's Tech Fest. At first, I was a bit skeptical that why would IIT Bombay invite a 13-year-old, let me repeat, a 13-year-old to become their social media partner for their Tech Fest. But things turned out just fine. And for me, it wasn't just about the title of IIT Bombay. It was me walking into IIT Bombay's campus for the first time, seeing students everywhere, events happening, and realizing I was a part of it. At 13, that feeling was unreal. Then, a year later, Clever Harvey reached out. They asked me to make a reel for them. At first, I thought it was just some small collab, but in return, they offered me a seat in one of their junior MBA batches. Imagine, I was still figuring out algebra at school, and here I was in a program called as Junior MBA. It was funny and scary at the same time. Then, 6 months later, something even bigger happened. Sriram Sir, the co-founder of Clever Harvey, had reached out. At first, I thought I was in some sort of trouble that why would the co-founder of a company personally message me? But when we spoke, he said something I am never gonna forget. You're helping the youth in your own way. If you really wanna grow, why don't you pitch for funding? Funding? At my age? My first thought was, bro, I could barely convince my parents to order fast food online. How in the world will I pitch for funds? But Sir guided me through it. I remember preparing for the interview for weeks. My confidence was shaky, and the night before, I could not sleep. The most funny part is, while I was stressing about the interview the next day, my friends were stressed about their math test. And finally, the day came. I gave the interview, and I had received a grant of 18 lakh rupees from Emergent Ventures. Now, just think of it. I used to get a pocket money of 500 rupees per month. And here I was sitting at a grant of 18 lakh rupees. My piggy bank wasn't ready for that kind of an upgrade. And none of this was random luck. IIT Bombay didn't just knock on my door one day. Clever Harvey didn't magically find me. And Emergent Ventures did not just hand out money for fun. All these things happened because I had been creating, putting myself out there every single day, even when it didn't matter. And this is the truth about opportunities. They don't come to people who are waiting. They come to people who are visible. And for me, the real win wasn't just IIT Bombay or the funding. It was everything I learned in the process. Editing, scripting, speaking in front of a camera, artificial intelligence, programming, building websites. All these things became a part of me simply because I kept creating. So, here's what I have learned. Whatever we're into, art, sports, coding, and music, we shouldn't sit around waiting for that knock. We should start small, stay consistent, and keep creating because opportunities don't knock, we create them. Thank you.